bit better, even for a middle distance running. I came back from US and enrolled to other track and field team in Finland. Uh, Ended up training alone with people who are much older than me, and then after that, I've been in lots of different teams in Finland. I've been training in Kenya. My problem when I was younger was that I was doing also lots of strength training, lots of endurance training, but I was really bad at stretching and I had really bad mobility. So I had constant problems with my shin splints and hamstrings, and I found at the age of 35, I found about yoga and stretching training, and I haven't had any injuries since 2015 so far. Yet I'm competing in 24-hour training, and of course I'm also training lots of people in as a personal trainer. My specialty is to keep runners in shape and doing exactly those things that are needed for our mobility training and strength training, that you can really keep your body body working as it should be in running. Of course, I needed to do this for myself first before I started doing experimenting it with other people. So I'm also a Sul Federation track and field coach, and I've been doing personal training since 2005, and I've been training runners from 2003. And lots of course, I also offer lots of technique training for people. But I first want to say that prevention of injury is not just about one thing. You need to do lots of proper things. You need to strengthen your muscles, you need to do a mobility training, and maybe sometimes you need to see a professional. It's lots of information, and even for me, it seems that every week I learn something new about myself or my customers. There are so many ways to get injured, but basically the mechanisms are quite similar quite often, that what you've been doing wrong if you have an injury. All right.
Thanks, Kiitos, Mikko. My name is Samuel Archambault. I'm originally from Canada, and I've been now with Mikko working at Vauhtisammakko in the office that is there. My background is in kinesiology and osteopathy. So basically, whenever Mikko trains people and they do a lot of running and then they get a little bit hurt, then they come to see me. So I specialize in pain management and also stress management. So my tools are manual therapy as well as exercises and mobility training. So I do all of those great things. Okay, just a few points before we start. That's nice. I see that most people has closed their microphone. Feel free, if you want to open your camera, that's completely fine. If you want to stay anonymous, that is also fine. We are here to give you some good content. So as long as your microphone is closed, so it doesn't interfere with the presentation. And if you have any questions, just write them down. And at the end, there will be a time for a Q&A, so you will be able to jump in. If you don't want to forget it, you can always write it in the chat, and at the end we will go back to it. So as Mikko said, the presentation should take about 35 minutes. You'll see that both him and I are going to interact, add some stuff. It's going to be kind of a discussion in between those different topics. So before anything else, let's get started. Mikko, can you just confirm me that you see the change in the slide now?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so if you signed up for this webinar and you had no idea what you were getting yourself into, well, now is your time to know exactly what you're getting yourself into. So basically, we're going to talk mostly about injury prevention. Prevention means before the injury. So we're going to talk about what are the most common injuries. If you look down here at what to expect, what are the most common injuries for runners, and also how to prevent those strategies. So I'm going to talk a little bit at the end on what to do if you get injured, but the goal of this webinar is really to talk about what to do before you get injured, in a way that the goal is to not get injured. After prevention strategies, we will mention few things about, okay, what are the early signs of injury? And again, before it happens, so you can stop it and intervene in the proper way. So after today, the goal is that you'll be able to have some tools and some strategies, and hopefully think a little bit differently about how can you modify your lifestyle and your training to make sure that you don't get hurt. Because if you like running and you get hurt, then you can't run, and life is pretty sad. Okay, let's jump right in the most common injuries for runners. Again, this is not a full full spectrum. You know, there are many things that can happen to runners. Mikko and I wanted to really dive in a bit more of the things that we see more commonly, and also what is being reported in the literature. So the first one is shin splints. Those are the ones that if you've been running for some time and maybe you have been running a bit too much, you feel in the front of your tibia. That's the low part of your leg. So this is your knee.
It's called penikkatauti in Finnish. So
Yes.
we're talking.
Thanks. Thanks for the translation. That might be useful. And here, normally you will feel it inside over there. And that most of the time will be due to, again, here, down here, you can see that overuse, and especially not letting your body adapt to the strain. This is what is going to cause it. You will see that throughout those 4 different type of injuries, a lot of the time, it is not necessarily one specific thing that creates the injury. It is different factors that just lays up on top of each other, and eventually, then there is a small thing that creates the injury. But chin splints doesn't happen like this. It happens because either someone is completely unconditioned, meaning that they have never run before, and then they start running way too fast, way too much, or it is someone that has been running for a while and increases the volume in a short period of time. So of course, the common strategies to let's say intervene is to really go progressively with your training, and that goes across the entire range here of the injuries. Yes, of course, if you see something like other type of exercises that adds a lot of compression, so jumping, anything that has kind of a, rope skipping, and a lot of things that has a lot of impact on top of running, you can see there that basically this can add up a lot of this compression effect and can create this pain. Mikko, by the way, I can't see you right now, so if you want to add anything, just cut me off.
Yeah, I could add that. Okay, there are some things that increase the chance of this. If you are a little bit heavier than average, then you have a little bit more shock. So that increases the probability of having this shin splints, so penikkatauti, and especially if you are landing a little bit too much on your heel, so you have not been working on your running technique and you're not in the ball of your foot, then it's also giving you a little bit more impact power. And also running really fast or running downhill might be really bad if you have this problem. So then you should avoid these kind of trainings for a little bit. So it's basically this one. And what I've been advising my runners, if you have this problem, you can rub it a little bit downwards here at alaspäin, or you can also use some ice when you are in sauna and also rub it. And sometimes I'm using a tennis ball for this. But yeah, it's usually when you are a little bit more of starting to running, it's quite common problem. When you have more kilometers and more training, it's usually not so big problem. and a little bit also that if you can use a little bit more of your glutes, that your with the running technique, that your knees are not bent, it helps a lot. If your waist is down or your knees are bent, you are much more likely to get this problem. So basically, what I'm trying to say, these are the probabilities that are increasing. Not necessarily you'll get this, but you try to do things a little bit better overall.
That's it. Thanks for adding this up. Actually, you can see that basically all of what Nico said also is adding this compression effect. If you have more, if you are heavier, it will add this compression effect. If you attack when you run, if you attack with your heel first, it creates, it doesn't allow your musculature to absorb the shock, and it goes more, the force goes straight to your bone, which is not really what we want. And the more you run, the more your bone is also going to get stronger. So those repetitive, this stress that you have, that's actually, you want that, because that's how you're going to get stronger and in your bones and in your muscles. But eventually you, if you go too fast and you don't let your body to adapt, that's where the problem comes. Okay, let's go to the second one, the runner's knee. Runner's knee is a general term that can include different type of pain and symptoms, but I have put it there to refer mostly as the syndrome, the patellofemoral syndrome. So if you don't know this alien word, it basically, I'm talking here about the patella, which is your kneecap, and the femoral is ligament is this one between that goes here to your quadricep muscles, and this one down there kind of attaches on your tibia. So this runner's knee, you can feel this pain around the kneecap, behind the kneecap, or on the ligament that is right above and right below. Again, a lot of that has to do with when you run, you will bend your knee and your knee is going to go forward. It is not the reason because you have pain is not because your knee bend and that it goes forward. That is completely normal, or else everybody that would bend their knee would hurt eventually. Again, it's either poor form. So you can imagine that your leg has been made one way so it can bend, right? If this is your tibia, the lower part of your leg, and this is the upper part, those should be working in a way that they are aligned. Now imagine if you have some muscle imbalances and maybe your feet goes a little bit to the outside, or your knees goes towards to the inside because of some muscle imbalance, then over time it can create this pain. We see a lot of this syndrome also. The patellofemoral syndrome goes a long way also with if you have been going downhill, because again, you add a lot of pressure going down, bending your knee and bringing the force forward in that tendon. If you would do that with very high volume in your backpack, meaning you have a lot of experience, it's different. It's always your capacity to adapt to the stress, to the type of running you do, and then also like the stress itself and the capacity to adapt. So if you mix those together, are they okay, or you have been doing way too much for what your body can handle? Wherever you are, it's fine. It's all a matter of making it progressive. Mikko, do you have anything to add on the runner's knee?
Yeah, I would say it's just the one thing that it's really important to improve your core muscles if you have this problem. If you don't have strong core muscles, you are going basically up and down all the time, and that's really bad for your knees as well. So of course you are losing energy as well. So yeah, I know this sounds crazy, but yeah, really improving core muscles is the best thing you can do in the longer run for for not having this problem in the future. Of course, you need to have a proper treatment, maybe with Samuel, but the longer run is really important that you do that. Yeah.
Great. Thanks for the free marketing, Mikko.
Yeah.
Let's jump now to the plantar fasciitis. This type of a pain is the pain you might have feel already, or under your feet. So it can go all the way from your heel in between your toes or in the middle of your feet. basically under your feet you have this aponeurosis. It's this kind of a, when you buy some chicken, and then around the chicken there's this very little tiny white stuff. Well, this is what you have around around your muscles under your feet. Okay? You have small little muscles there. So this kind of a thicker kind of a well, it's not a tendon, it's more it links the muscle all the way down. So that kind of a layer, this thicker layer, can get inflamed. So meaning, again, it might have been too resisting too much shock, and that can get inflamed, and that's why you might get pain under there. One more time, this can be due to many different things, but normally in my office, when I treat this, I look a lot at the mobility and the strength of the feet and the arch of the feet. So this can be due to someone who is not moving at all and is not used to have compressive effect on their feet. So again, you see kind of a pattern here that if you don't have enough time to adapt to a new running routine, then that might it might show up in different forms. But in that way, it might be also because your footwear is improper and that you haven't changed them for a very long time, so they're not supporting also when you run, and it's basically under your feet that fascia is taking all the hip. I also include in there that your back chain might be facilitated. That basically means that if you have a very tight back chain, if you feel like your calf are very, very tight, if you feel like your lower back and your glutes, everything feels very, very dense, think that your body is one big elastic band, right? So if all of that is tense, you can also imagine that under your feet kind of links between all with all of that, so can also get tight and therefore can get inflamed. For this, it's fixing or doing a little bit of a rehabilitation on the feet, making sure they move properly, and also making sure that the ankle, knee, and hip is well aligned. And also myself, I give some exercises to relax the back chain also, so some nice stretches. You can do some myofascial release also if you have like a small tennis ball and roll it under your feet. That's the first step that can help. But overall, you want to work on the whole picture here. Mikko, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, lots. Okay, I think I've been have had all of these injuries and training myself as well. But yeah, what I think that what's just really important that you need to have really strong calves, eli vahvat pohkeet ja vahvat nilkat. So also your ankles have to be strong, but there has to be some flexibility and mobility also in your ankles. My problem was that I didn't have any mobility in my ankles, and that was maybe the reason why I had this problem. I had the strength, but not the flexibility there. So you definitely need to have both of those, and yeah, you need to start figuring out what's the problem. Are your muscles too weak, or are they just totally the mobility is really bad? Quite often it's the both. That if they are weak and there's no mobility, then you definitely are going to have a problem at some point. So usually, even without knowing this, taking sure that you are starting the both mobility and the strength training together, it's usually the best way to avoid these problems in the future. And yeah, also in the short term, you need a little bit more cushioning in your shoe. But if you always use cushioning, then those small muscles in your foot, they're not going to develop, and you will have this problem again. So yeah, I guess that's about.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you for this.
Yeah.
And let's dive into the last one, which is the IT band syndrome. So your IT band is this long tendon. Basically, it starts from a small muscle that is on the side of your hip. So if you want to try it now, you have your hip bone that is in front of you. And if you just follow basically under your belly, go a little bit to the outside, and you will feel kind of a spike, a piece of bone a little bit lower than that and a bit outside of that. if you want to start moving your fingers in there, you might notice that, oh, okay, this is tender. This is the muscle part of your IT band, which basically connects there to your hip. And that band goes all the way to the side of your leg and then attaches again in the front of your tibia. So attaches here and also attaches kind of down there. Okay, so basically it arrives on the lateral here and then it connects all the way down here. So this can have, if you have inflammation of that, basically you're going to feel it on the outside of the knee or the thigh. So it can go like you're on the side of your leg, but most of the time you're going to feel it on this attachment. We can not really see it here. It's not a good image, but on this on the side of your knee, you might see that this here, because it is a little bit tight, will kind of irritate, and that's what's going to make or create the pain. This muscle, this small muscle, the IT band, it's a stabilizer muscle. So therefore, if this gets overused, it is because it's compensating for something else. So normally, what I see is that the glute and the hip flexors and the adductors are not working all together in a way. So maybe they are just weak, or maybe they're just not coordinated. And for that, it is better to have some exercises to kind of remake this brain and muscle connection together. So there goes the same thing if you have some poor joint alignment. So if you have knees that we call valgus that are, very much inside, or varus that are very much to the outside, you can imagine that the biomechanic of the knee might not, might irritate this. So most of the time, I like to work a lot with first mobility of the hips and knees and ankle, and then after that, making sure that those three links work well together with exercises. And normally, it gets rid of the pain. So again, a lot of work in the background, mobility, some stretching and reinforcement. Also, I think this is not said enough in the injury prevention world. We need to make you a little bit stronger. So whenever you run, your body is going to be able to be a bit more resilient. Mikko, anything to add?
Yeah, yeah, pretty much the same. It's not wasted time if you spend training on your muscles. It's definitely will help you running faster as well. Yeah, this problem is pretty much about stiffness and weakness. That's pretty much most of the injuries are. And so you need to do some proper training for your gluteus muscles as well, but you also need to stretch them quite much. If you're sitting really much in your work, or spend lots of time on a car, or not not moving, then it's becoming bigger problem. I think it's like I have so many people coming in at my customers who have this problem. I would say like 60% of the people I start training with have this problem. At least it's like more than half. And actually, the people who are not running, they have this problem even more often, because they don't even realize the pain because they are not running. So, so yeah, if you're a runner, it's quite often that you realize, okay, I have this problem too. I have to solve it if I want to keep on running. Yeah.
Great. Hyvä. Let's go now. Let's talk about injury prevention. Now we have talked a little bit more specifically to those injuries, but I don't want you to leave this webinar with something very very broad, very vague, so you don't really know where to go, but hopefully working a little bit on that mentality around injury prevention. So this is what I call the triangle of the pyramid of injury prevention. And you can see here that every portion builds on the top of each other. Okay, so technically speaking, we want, when we build a pyramid or a house or whatever, we always want to build the first one, right, the foundation, and then we're going to keep going up and up. So see here that healthy habits are the foundation, meaning, for me, if a runner has not that figured out, meaning I'm I would not look at someone and making sure that they eat perfectly, they sleep always 8 hours a night, and they're active on top of that, and they have a good social life. And no, there's nothing, there's no such a thing as perfection, but especially if there is a one area in there that is really a problem, that is really something that should be worked on. Example, someone has very, very high stress, very demanding job, a lot of things going on. What do you think will happen if this person starts to run high volume? Stress are not mental stress and physical stress, or both are the same. So we want to build, imagine that when you run, it's like if you plant seeds and you plant flowers in your garden. Well, you want to make sure that your garden has very good soil. And that's the analogy I want you to see when we think about injury prevention. It's not only about picking the right flower and using the right way to plant the flower. Most of the time, it's just, is my soil good? So whatever I put in, it's going to grow much better. That's why healthy habits are so important. So when I talk about those, I talk about nutrition. Are you eating, close to nature? Are you cooking your food? Are you not skipping meals all the time? Are you limiting sugar and refined sugars and non-healthy fats? Do you have a active lifestyle on top of your running? Do you normally walk, or are you sedentary? Are you always seated, or can you move a little bit throughout your day? Are you going outside in the morning? Can you regulate your stress levels? Do you have people that you love and that they love you back? And if something happens, you can rely on them. How is your mental health going? And then, are you sleeping and feeling recovered in the morning? So those are, for me, the foundation when it comes to healthy habits. Then we move to the training planning and
Can I add a
yes.
little bit for
Go
this?
ahead.
Because yeah, I think one thing I would like to talk about maybe is sleeping, because the top athletes in the world, these Kenyan runners I've been training with, they sleep 9.5 to 10 hours every night. I don't know anybody who is basically sleeping 10 hours a night here in Finland. But those people who are making the best results with my coaching, they are really sleeping over 9 hours. Of course, of course, when you get a little bit older, you can't be sleeping maybe that much. But yeah, even giving that, like trying to increase like up to 8 hours of sleep, it will really affect your running. You will be really much faster. You'll recover so much faster. But it's something that it's not enough emphasized. And yeah, what you do after training, that you relax and you go to sleep, and not playing too much with your smartphone. It's it's really big part. Quite often, if I see that some of my people I'm training, they're not keep getting the results, it's usually the first thing is that they're not sleeping enough. But of course, the other thing is also that it's important to measure these things. Also, that and make sure at some point that you measure that how much you're actually sleeping. And only thing, you can't be increasing this if you're not measuring anything. The other thing you can, of course, some of the people are already measuring is how many steps you are making each day. So if you have those 10,000 steps every day, even when you are not practicing running, you will have much faster results than if you are somewhere like 3,000. So make sure that you walk a lot, especially if you are a beginner runner. So it's a low level training, and it's really this bottom of the pyramid. People who have dogs, they usually walk a little bit more, and they will get much faster to the better shape in running as well. Yeah.
Great. Talking now about training planning. So this might be a bit less, let's say, relevant if, let's say, you will run one time a week. I mean, there, in that case, your body is going to be able to recover. But the more you're basically going to include a bit more volume, and you're going to start to run, you want to make sure that when you run and how it is planned in your week, it makes sense. And for that, it's really useful to have someone build a program for you, even if you're experienced, because we are biased when we think about each other. I mean, I did countless years of studying in this, and I still have a trainer for myself, for my own workout, because basically what we want to make sure of is that, are you not condensing your volume? So imagine if we push it to the extreme. If you run 3 times a week and you decide to run Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then all the other days are off, you would say, well, Sam, that doesn't make any sense. Exactly, because you don't let your body to recover. So that's what I mean when I mean work and rest ratio. A good rule of thumb normally is we don't want to increase the volume by more than 10% as you keep going up week and month. You want to go by small increments. There is no such thing. You need to let your body adapt, um, because every time you impose a stress, it's going to basically break down a little bit your capacity, and you need to recover to make it yourself more resilient for the next. I have also included lifestyle in there because, again, think about what's your overall lifestyle. Are you just running and the rest of the time you're completely stress free, you live your best life, there's nothing there to worry about? Or you're someone who's always on the go, you have plenty of things, you're very busy. Those things will add up. So again, remember, we're talking about injury prevention. Are you bringing yourself up for success, or are you adding up all of those layers that eventually might create an injury? Mikko, anything you want to add on the training?
Yeah, lots of things. Okay, it's a funny thing. We started talking about injury prevention, but we are pretty much talking about your whole life. Everything's affecting all your choices you do during the day. Uh, yeah. Also, one thing I forgot to say in the previous one is that the recent study found out that it was around 85% of the women who are training endurance running are not eating enough carbohydrates. So probably if you are a woman, you are not eating enough carbohydrates. It might be the same thing as if you're a man as well, but it might be sometimes good idea, especially before training, add some carbohydrates, and that might be really the biggest thing. It's also one of the biggest reasons of the injuries that you are not just getting enough energy as well. Uh, yeah, but yeah, I think we covered a little bit pretty much about the lifestyle as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good. If we keep going in that same vein, around the running, especially when you start to run a little bit more, at some point, it's going to be very difficult for you to only add more running. So if you want to keep enjoying running and keep improving, then you might want to include other types of training. That's why I wrote here in the third layer, cross training. I include in there everything that goes in power training, strength training. You can also include mobility training, although this can be kind of a split into recovery techniques and cross training. Basically, remember, being a runner doesn't only mean running. I know it's weird said like this, but you can do many other things also to uh, make your body stronger and more capable to run. And again, it might be hard if you don't know where you're going with this. That's why I will never say enough how it's important to have someone to guide you if you want to get serious into this. I have also included in there your warm up, especially if you're going to do more intense, and especially if the more intense your training, the longer your warm up. This is a good rule of thumb. So if you're going to do more speed, you want your warm up to be much longer. If you're just going for a 20-minute jog, very low pace, you need a small minimal warm up. But okay, maybe if it's winter and minus 25, maybe you need to warm up a little bit, but you get my point. It goes to the level of intensity. And at last, of course, your technique. This matters. Remember all of that biomechanics and how do you use the natural springs in your body? Are you applying force all of on your heel? Are you able to maintain your core? Do you move your arms properly? Do you overextend? Those are all things that as well you can get coached on. Mikko, anything else?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, it's basically if you're a runner, you are not going to be stronger with your, especially with your legs, if you just run, especially if you always run with rather a slow pace. If you do interval trainings, maybe a little bit, but only exceptions is that if you do sprinting and there is a longer resting period, that can actually also increase your muscle mass. But it's also important to know which muscles you must strengthen. Well, basically the legs in general, but what you need to do is like this things like deadlift or getting this maastoveto, rinnalleveto up to here, or the clean. But you have to have a proper technique so you are actually activating your muscles and not too heavy weights on the wrong spot. Today we had a one of our boat customer of our boat was she was doing a really deadlift with the big weights in the summer and also running little bit really big volume at the same time. So that was a mistake. So you also need to know what to do and when to do. Basic mistakes are that you are doing something like body pump kind of training that you have a really high intensity and you are doing with really so you have lots of lactic acids. So that's not good for your training in running. If you want to be developing in runner, you have your heart rate is up in your running training, but when you are doing strength, you have a little bit longer periods of resting and you have good technique and proper loads to your technique as well. So basic idea is that you need to improve your core muscles and you need to improve your legs, but you also need to improve your nervous system so it's suitable for running. So it might not be the best idea to hire the biggest bodybuilder in town to be your strength coach. The training will be really tough and it will be emphasized on the muscle mass growth, but that's not exactly what you want as a runner. You want to have as light body as possible with as much muscle and as much strength as possible. So you need to have a coach who can help you with how to develop this your nervous system as well and who understands running. Yeah. And what else? Yeah, that was pretty much about the strength training. But yeah, also with the strength training, it's always good idea to combine stretching with the strength training. So you are hitting those two birds with the same stone at some time because, and quite often if your training is proper, once a week is quite enough for a runner. Yeah.
That's good point, and we will give you some resources at the end. We have some free resources and some paid ones that you can access to if you want to get more into those. One last thing about the strength training: if you do, if you can work strength also with both legs, but also it would be interesting to include unilateral, so working on one leg and then working on the other. As when you run, you're always like one, you're never you're not jumping two legs on front, right? You're always one leg after the other. For recovery techniques, in there you can include everything that goes from taking sauna, going relaxing session, meditation. You can use also this those kind of or going to massage, everything that will help your recovery, that are more specific techniques. Okay, because of course none of that equals to a good amount of sleep, but those can be things that can be added up in your training. So mobility training as well, we talked about, uh, this self, foam rolling. Those are all things that could be included in there. And then on the top, I have left only supplements and technology because I wanted to put it there because the best example for this is this kind of a gun like machine that looks like a small hammer, that kind of helps you with muscle relaxing. Is it bad? No. The mistakes is some people do is they think that using this is going to make sure that they don't have any injury, or they will take one supplement that they heard somewhere. Oh, this is the perfect supplement, so they will take that and they think that they will be good to go. But again, revisit the pyramid and look at what is the foundation. It is really building our habits. Doesn't mean that you can't look into supplements, and if of course if you're in big lack of some vitamin, that might be something I'm thinking about. Example, if especially for women that are very iron deficient, but that might be like a medical issue, then I would say solve that. But most of the time, if you eat like average, let's say that this is going to be the cherry on the top and not necessarily the foundation of injury prevention. Anything else, Mikko?
No, not really. I think we are
Makes
even
sense.
over our time so far.
Okay.
Yeah, we are. So
I will
far,
just
I haven't had many things that we don't agree with each other.
okay. um, just a quick thing on difference between overreaching and overtraining. Some people think that they are overtraining, and there's a difference. When you train, when you run, you will be overreaching, meaning that what you are capable to do, you will have to push a little bit further than that. You will normally you're not used to, okay, I'm going to go for a little bit longer run. This is normal. This is what you want, because that's how your body will adapt in the end. And that's normal, because when you will overreach, then you will recover and then you will become stronger. Completely normal. Overtraining is just when you overreach too many times. So imagine if you just impose stress after stress, but you don't allow your body to recover. So I can let you read the symptoms here, but basically in that case, this will happen after many months, right? Many months of in like increasing volume, and you might have very low performance, motivation to train. You normally see that more in athletes. So make sure that if you feel those different symptoms, it might be just because, well, you're starting to run, and or you have done a bit too much too fast, and then you're like, oh, maybe I just rest a little bit. And normally it takes not so long that you're able to continue. While overtraining, it's more of a serious issue where it takes many weeks, if not months, to get back to a healthier version of training. And I just want to finish with basically some strategies, what to do and what not to do. So I want to keep it simple for you. Basically, you want to look at, this pyramid. Is there anything in there, especially in the lower parts, that you see that, hey, this is I know that I should be working on that more? Good. If you want to make sure you don't get injured, work on that. Your healthy habits, your sleep, your stress. Of course, I like a lot mobility training, so I've included it in there. But you see that all of those are strategies that you can include. The goal here is not to say that you should be doing all of those things. It's just pinpoint the one that is not going so well in your opinion and work on that. The things do not do this: no pain, no gain, or if you feel that you are starting to feel like being injured, just pushing through is rarely a good idea. Very rarely. Maybe the only exception would be you're in a competition and that's the only time you have to push. Maybe you have to, maybe not. That's for you to judge. But most of the time, if you're just training, I would say don't push it too much. Again, rely on the top parts of the pyramid, so supplements and medication, and also don't miss out on your favorite recovery activities. All of those help you out. So it's a lot of like getting rid of what doesn't really work and just focusing on one or two things that really will make the big difference. And at last, just wanted to spend 1 minute or two talking about what happens if you're getting closer to injured. So think about it this way. You're going to train, you're going to move your body. Everybody on planet Earth has at some point in their life some type of pain. That's completely normal. Okay. If you are sore, that's normal. If you feel tightness, that's normal. Where a good sign of if you think you're getting injured is that you keep running days after days, weeks after weeks, and the same pain persists and especially goes worse. That is a good sign that, oh, maybe something is going on. Most of the time, if you are sore, you have a little bit of pain or tightness, just rest. It's mostly going to pass. But if you see that this is now graduating and it's going worse and worse, then in that case, I would say uh, go see a professional. And eventually also you'll have to ask yourself, do I have to adapt my training so that it can allow me to rest more? Do I need to see a professional, or is there also some medical issue under there? So I'm going to visit again, like the professional I need. And if you get injured, of course, you have one of those injuries, then it's important to go back to running progressively, right? You don't want to, oh, now I'm free of my injury, bang, you start and you go right into it. Mikko, any last points?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think the biggest problem for my customers is that when you have problems, you are telling them too late. It's like today I was asking one of the people I'm coaching, hey, how was your last week? And then he answered, I couldn't run since Wednesday since I had a hamstring problem. I was like, what? You didn't tell me. You've been wasting like 5 days of training time, and you have not been telling me this. So when you have the problems, try to seek the help as fast as possible. And when we are coaching the top level athletes in Finland, we usually, if there's some feeling in your muscle, you already tell that to the coach that it might become a problem. But when it comes to the people who are not professional athletes, you are hiding these problems way too long and not asking for the help. I'm not saying that you need to you need to find the help from me or Samuel, but of course, since we are here, then you are free to ask us lots of questions what to do with that. Uh, yeah, this is going to be recorded, and lots of people are going to see this a little bit later. But what I can promise, if somebody is going to call me or put me a message, at least anytime I try to book at least 15 minutes of my time is completely free, and I try to help you. Of course, this is with webinars, we are trying to get more customers, but our main goal is to help you as well. So please don't hesitate to ask us questions. Maybe some of you will become either mine or someone's customers, and some of you don't. That's totally okay. And yeah, definitely ask us lots of questions. Ask us questions now. You can reach me through WhatsApp or any or email, and I guess it's the same for you. And see what we can do also.
Yes, if you before we go to the
Yeah.
questions section, as
Yeah.
Miko was saying, we have a couple of options for you, those resources.
Yeah.
So on the Vauhtisammakko app, if you're
Yeah.
interested, we have a lot of different videos on all of those strength training, all of this injury prevention, all of those different techniques that we've been talking about. A lot of content is actually, I have been building those videos, so they're all in there. That's one thing. Then when you will receive the recording in an email, you will also have a link with a free mobility routine that I have already done in the past. You will be able to access this where if you don't know where to start with mobility. Then if you have been listening today and you say, oh, maybe I need more help, then yes, Mikko can help you with everything that has to do with technique, strength training, running, planning. That's his specialty. And if you already have some pain and you would not want to get injured more, that is my specialty. So then you will be able, in that email, there will also be my contact, so you will be able to, if you want, book an appointment. So that's all that basically we can offer you today after this, if you have other questions. But now, please, if you do have questions, we are open to hear them out.
I still couple of things also. Well, in Turku we have this in-body machine. You can measure if your feet are equal strength or if your upper body has more strength. Quite often runners have more muscles on their upper body than their legs, and that's the one thing we need to improve. And also we can see with the machine if you need to work with your core muscles as well. But yeah, as Samuel said, it's vice versa. If you have some chronic pain and don't contact me at that point, you should definitely contact Samuel. And if you have some of the biggest problem fixed first, then I can help you not to have injuries so much in the future as well. But for my experience, if you just run and you don't do anything else, most of you will stop running because of the injury somewhere between 50 to 60 years, or then you are a really lucky person. And I've been seeing lots of really talented runners. In running, it's a paradox that you can go really far just by running if you're lucky enough, but at some point the luck will be running out as well. So do these things and seek help early enough. It's really important that if you can, it's more important to be in a running shape when you get older and older, and it's totally possible. But of course, it needs lots of work, lots of information. Yeah. Now for the anything else, someone, before we go to the questions.
No, please, if you do have any questions, you have two options. You can either raise your hand on the small buttons below, or you can write it in the chat as well, and we can answer it from there. Okay, we have a question here. How can I prevent myself from overtraining when returning from a rest period due to rasituso osteopatia?
Yeah, there's stress fracture in the bone.
Okay. Yes, I do strength, 3 times strength and mobility training a week at the gym. And before, that's great. I still put it in my list. I ran 25 kilometers a week. I have a lot of aerobic stamina, so I could run a lot. But I know that my foot cannot take it right away. Do you want to start, Mikko, or should I start?
Yeah, well, I can start a little bit. Okay, with this problem, I think that one of the biggest issues to have enough energy in your body. Most of these problems, they are quite often it's like 70 to 85% of the problems come when you don't have enough carbs compared to the training you do. So not just limiting the amount of your training, you need to maybe eat a little bit more of the carbs while you are doing this. And of course, then I would say when you want to strengthen your bones, you are definitely want to be strengthening your muscles. So yeah, also make sure that if you're doing this much strength training, you need to be figuring out that if your muscle mass is actually growing. You might be doing something, but if your muscle mass is not growing, then it's a little bit waste of your time then. So make sure that you're really measuring these measures and seeing how things are developing. Yeah.
I would also add that I think that this is great that you're already, even after the injury, you're still strength training. Personally, I would look at what your strength training routine looks like, and then we would see also if that creates any pain. If not, then, and if your goal is to continue to run, I like the approach of cross training. So let's say that you want to go back to where you were. Well, it would be maybe an idea to test, okay, how much can you run before the pain recreates itself? It might be very little, and that's okay. You can start with that, and the rest of the cardio training you could do on either on a bicycle or any other types of cardio that you like. And then basically you would reduce the amount of that cardio the more you can run in your week. But again, that has to become, it might be counterintuitive to say, I'm hurt, I'm going to run. But if you want your body to adapt to and to come back to running, you need eventually to run just at a very lower pace. So the progression, I would really slow it down, but still start to keep a little bit of stimuli to your body. That would be my answer for that.
Yeah, and of course there's again the same thing. You need to improve your core muscles to make the shock a little bit lighter, and you need to of course improve your legs, but also training your running technique is also really important here.
Yes, there is a lot of you know, Miko and I would ask you many more questions
Yeah,
if we would have more time. So that's the first thing that comes up to my head now, just at least to give you some type of a answer.
yeah,
Yeah.
very good question.
Any,
Yeah,
yeah, very good question. Thank you.
yeah,
Anybody else? Okay. After all the injuries, currently I have on the left side all of those common injuries, 4 on 4. Okay, perfect score. Then is it better to start building strength and mobility rather than start running or walking? How did I get here? Lots of kilometers with bad techniques. Okay, my first question to you, Lena, would be, um, do you want to run? Is this something like you would be willing to train for? Is this your goal? Maybe I just wait for your answer.
I would say definitely yes.
Well, you're biased.
But
Okay, you want to run again. Okay, perfect.
yeah,
So in that case,
yeah,
go ahead, Miko. You have something
yeah, I
to add?
say yes. It's a definitely better idea to start building strength and mobility, and then, but you can, yeah, that biking at the same time might be a really good idea because then you don't have this the shock there as well. Because if you don't do any endurance training and you're just doing the strength training, then your endurance level is going to go down. Yet though your muscles are improving, so when you are starting running again, then it might be really really tough. So do some endurance training at the same time if possible, even if it's biking or rowing or swimming, whatever. Yes, swimming, exactly, perfect. So yeah, swimming and yeah, and if you can do biking as well, it would be really good.
Yes, I
Yeah,
agree with Miko with this one. It's important to maintain your aerobic capacity, but if you feel all of this different pain in your knee right now, or a different part of your body, I would agree that the first step before you even think about building volume and stuff, it would be to, okay, let's reduce the inflammation, make sure that you don't hurt every time you go run, and then because we have to think about the mental side as well. Imagine if every time you go run, you're in pain. At some point, your brain is going to connect both ends and say, run equal pain. I'm not going to run anymore. So making sure that you can keep your aerobic capacity, bicycle, swimming, and then keep training what you've been doing to give you more confidence also in your the capacity of your body to go forward. Then when that has been lowered down, and then again increasing very slowly and progressively back to running.
yeah.
I
Also, there was a notion that all the problems are on the left side, so it might most may my interpretation I might interpret this situation as maybe the left side is a little bit weaker. That's most likely, but I don't know because I haven't been measuring that. So you should maybe you have done the measuring. If so, tell us what's the result. But if you haven't, do a measurement, and then you should always start your training with your left leg, and maybe sometimes even do a little bit more training there so you can balance those feet. And when the legs are in the balance, they're very
okay.
equal. Okay, maybe
Oh,
there's something you can point out. Maybe there's some. It might be then the technique or something else.
yeah, so it might be a lack of mobility in
Yeah,
on one side or the other that creates this
yeah,
disbalance, especially if it's all on the left side. Normally
yeah,
we see a disbalance, whether it is on
Yeah,
the motor side, so how you move, or it is in the mobility side, how your
yeah,
body is able to move.
yeah. It's not definitely not a coincidence if there's everything is on the left side. Yeah, but of course we can't know before of measuring. But yeah,
Thank you for the question, Lena. That's
yeah,
a interesting
yeah,
case.
yeah.
Anybody else would like to ask a question, share something?
Oh, they've been here for 1 hour. Great.
5 more seconds, your
Yeah.
last chance.
Or any comments? If there's something else you want to hear about, do you want to go specifics about some injuries? Of course, we want to have this a little bit more in the future. Are there any topics you want to hear about more about some specific injuries, or maybe about the strength training, what to do, what not to do?
That's a very good point because
Yeah,
Mikko and I are planning more of those webinars, and they're
great.
going to be free as well. So if you now said, I wish I could hear more about this, please write it in the chat as well. If you want to know if you have a weaker side, it depends. You could use a standardized exercise. So if you want to test, for example, good way you could start if you could just do like this leg extension machine where you're seated down and you leg extend. Do it one leg and then do it the other leg. Do you feel like the same weight feels different on one side? That could be just a good start to give you an idea if, oh yeah, with this side I can be very strong, and then this
Yeah.
side it doesn't feel strong at all.
Or of course, then you have again the in-body machine is really fast way of figuring out. Of course, it doesn't. It measures the muscle mass, not the strength.
Yeah.
You still might have a little bit different working on the nervous system as well. But yeah, but also the muscle mass is really important factor as well. And yeah, and what is also if you are measuring the muscle mass, usually if there's just like if it's more than like 300 grams of difference, then it's usually something which is meaningful. If it's less than that, then it's not so big factor. So yeah, also, but quite often most of the people the other leg is a little bit stronger.
Mm.
But if it's more than that, then it's a little bit a little bit extraordinary. Then yeah,
Hyvä. In the email you will get a link if you want to download the app. There is going to be how to book an appointment with Mikko or myself, and there's always also going to be the free mobility routine that you can also download. It's a video that you can follow, and of course the recording of today if you want to send it to someone or rewatch it yourself if you have more questions. You can also answer to that email if you want to ask more questions or if you need more information. So,
yep.
On that note, Mikko, thank you. Thanks everybody for coming today, and please stay injury free.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Have a good evening, everybody. Hyvää iltaa.